Red Indies Shuffle, shuffle. Red Indies Shuffle.
Hey there, rocking listeners, you are back on Red Indie Shuffle Northeast Edit with me, RJ Baio, and my special guest for today, Abhishek Hazarika. And well, Abhishek, can you tell us about your musical influences? You said that you are into grunge rock. Tell us who inspires you to become a better musician.
It's in my teenage years, when my sister on one of my birthdays, she gave me Nirvana's Nevermind. And like so many teenagers and youngsters who got into grunge, Nirvana was the entry point. But over the years, with age, you kind of realize that, Nirvana was one amongst 5-6 awesome grunge bands. And if I talk about my major influences, it has to be Soundgarden and Screaming Trees and Pearl Jam. So the reason I mention these three bands is if you listen to Soundgarden very carefully, you can hear early influences of Black Sabbath, you can hear some awesome melodies inspired by the Beatles, but what you can also hear is some elements of Indian classical, especially Kim Thile's guitaring, and some of the compositions had, direct or indirect influence of Indian classical music. That's why I like their, hybrid mix as a band. And then Screaming Trees and Pearl Jam specifically because the way they mix alternative rock and blues rock to come up with a very modern sound. So I would say these bands are the pillars which have driven me. But apart from that, I also like bands who have explored genres of rock music. Starting with the Beatles, they laid the foundation of what rock music can be. They started off pop sound, they went into blues and psychedelia, then raga rock, and then heavy metal and progressive rock. Similarly, I also like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. This Australian band is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you name a genre in rock music and they've done it. And they've got 25 albums in 10 years, which is crazy.
Wow, that is certainly an awesome lineup of bands that are legendary in their own right. Thank you so much for that. Well, we are here to talk about an album that you put out, right?
Correct.
Can you tell us the name of the album that we are going to talk about today?
So my debut grunge rock album is called Brightendash. It comprises 10 tracks, all released as singles. And if I talk about the album, Brightendash is also the name of my musical project, or even say my band startup. Brightendash is a very fancy name for a band which wants to do multiple genres of rock music under one umbrella. Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, and Screaming. All very different from each other. One of the common elements binding them together is heavy metal, punk rock, blues rock, some Indian classical elements, and some progressive and jazz-based, melodies. So basically, grunge rock is nothing but your musicians from the 90s taking inspirations from their predecessors who came before them and then making the sound of their own. And the album is a showcase of 10 songs. With each song, the musical intensity, it gets higher, culminating into a crescendo towards the last few singles of the album. What you can definitely experience is a musical journey of rock music discovery on the Brightendash. The album artwork, it showcases a random person standing at the bottom of a staircase, and with each level he is basically experiencing a sound which is new and fresh. At the lowest step is a song called Bring Out Your Dreams. It's a dream pop sound, and at the top of the ledge on the topmost staircase you have a song called Adventures in a Music Festival, which is basically prog rock meeting prog metal, the heaviest song on the album.